So this is a bit of a puzzling gospel in some respects. I think that I can distill it down to what it speaks to me, in a simple sentence, and that is that not everybody who thinks they're going into the wedding feast is going into the wedding feast. And that, I hate to say that frightens me, but it gets my attention, I can tell you that. I mean, it truly gets my attention. And we talk about the fact that you can't put Jesus in a box, If you try to limit who God is and how he works and what he's capable of, he's always throwing you a monkey wrench into your box, and it's like, well, maybe that doesn't quite fit. And I think about this morning as I was reflecting on this, the story of the paralyzed man. And remember the 4 friends that brought the paralyzed man to Jesus? And it says, and Jesus saw their faith. And it goes from the one who is saved, but there's a plurality to that. I think about my priesthood and being called to the hospital, which happens. People are dying or very near dead, and I anoint them, and I think about the oil, right, and bringing the oil to them in a sense. And Jesus says through the letter of James, if anybody's sick, call for the priest and let them anoint them, and their sins will be forgiven. And I think about those things, and then I think about this. And it's like, give me some oil. I can't give you any oil. Can't. If I give you my oil, we'll both run out of oil. And neither one of us can light the way for the bridegroom. So it bears some meditation, doesn't it? All of it. But I think, Jesus could not be more clear, particularly in this Matthew chapter 25. This is a lot of images of the final judgment and the necessity to have our own oil, which is a symbol of the presence of the Spirit within us. That's required. And these words, I told you, I don't want to say they frighten me, but I will say they get my attention. I do not know you. Let me in. I do not know you. That should get all of our attention. It should get our attention. Now, the other thing, I can't let this first reading go without at least saying the cross, the cross, the cross. When I am lifted up, I will draw all people to myself. The cross, the wisdom and the power of God. One of my favorite prayers is to just meditate on the cross, to sit in silence and look at the cross. It speaks to me in a sense, the wisdom and the power of God. I almost every funeral I celebrate, I hold the crucifix up as I place it on the casket, and I say, this was used by the Romans as a symbol of terrorism. It was to terrify the population, and it did. It worked. But it is in the hands of God a symbol of the wisdom and the power of God and the love of God, of sacrifice, because Jesus is going to rise from the dead. And we have faith in that, don't we? You can have all the crosses you want. God wins. But then there is this incredible wisdom of this self-emptying power of God. And, my brothers and sisters, we have to have that in us. It's not good enough for your neighbor to have it in them. And so today, God gets our attention. with his wisdom and his power.